Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Joyce Alarakwon. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you natural hair care tips. Since I told you guys that I have a knack for natural hair, then what's my job if I do not tell you guys? If I do not put you on natural hair care tips and tricks. So now that is that the season is changing and it feels like everywhere is becoming so dry and there's so much cold in the morning, you know what that is? You know what time it is? It is the harmattan season. So today I'm going to be sharing with you the tips and tricks to navigate the harmattan season without breaking your hair. I remember this time last year, I wrote an article on how to maintain your natural hair during harmattan. I still have the article here on my phone, and I'm so much excited and delighted to share them with you. I'm going to be telling you the tips and I'm going to be explaining them to you. So, yes, this is what I told you I wrote this thing last year as an article, and I cannot wait to share them with you. That right here. It's quite a number of tips. Yeah. So, firstly, I want to welcome you. If you're seeing my face for the first time, my name is Joyce. Call me Joyce of Tom Naturals. So, I'm a medical laboratory scientist. I am also into content creation and I have a care line. I'm an entrepreneur. So, in this particular video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to maintain your hair, your natural hair, especially during this harmattan season, this cold and freezing season. In this season, our hair is prone to being frizzy and prone to be extremely dry. And when your hair is dry, what are you expecting next? It's going to break. So that's exactly what we don't want. If you are being intentional about your hair, if you care so much about yourself and self love, then at this point, you really do not want something that will predispose you to hair breakage you are trying to nurture. So that is why I'm bringing this up. And the very first tip here that can never be overemphasized is diet. And when it comes to diet and nutrition, you know that whatever you take into your system through your mouth is part of what makes up your whole body system. So you want to make sure that you're eating healthy. I know that this season of Ramadan, everywhere is dry. Like generally, everyone is dry. The environment, the leaves, the ground, apart from your diet, you want to take hydration into consideration. You want to drink more water. Apart from you even trying to nourish your hair, you also want to nourish your whole body. You have the nails, you have the skin. You don't want to look ashy. You want to make sure you drink so much water. You want to double the quantity of water you take on a regular during Harmattan. So you also want to work with water externally on your hair. You don't want your hair to look dry all the time. So you want to moisturize this hair from the outside. And how do you do this? You go in with water, then you might want to incorporate a leave-in conditioner, or you want to seal it with butter or hair oil. So let me give you this particular method I love using during the harmattan. I love spraying my hair with water. I spray my hair with water a lot. This since you want to do them on a daily basis. During the rainy season or the other seasons that we have, you might not necessarily wet your hair with water on a daily basis. If you do a very good moisturizing method on your hair, it can last you for a few days before you repeat the process all over again. So, but during Harmattan, you want to do this often, every day. In fact, every single day. So, you want to first spritz your hair with water. Me, I love to use. Personally, I love to use this spray bottle. Other type of spray bottle that you can use. So, when you spritz your hair with water, that you want to go in with, you don't have to let it soak your hair, obviously. So then you want to go in with a leave-in conditioner. So personally, I love using this particular leave-in conditioner. It's for my brand. So I love going in with a leave-in conditioner after spritzing or spraying my hair with water. Then after then I go in with my oil to seal in the moisture. It is very important to hydrate yourself and moisturize your hair from the outside. It enables the hair to be very easy to work on. So it won't stress you, obviously. So number two tips I have to share about maintaining your hair during Harmattan is washing. Whether it's Harmattan, whether it's rainy season, whether it's dry season, you don't want your hair to be dirty and smelling. So at this point, you want to wash your hair on a regular basis, following your basic or your personalized hair care routine. And at this point, if you know you use maybe a very warm water to wash your hair in the beginning, during harmattan you want to go in with a lukewarm water or a cool water. You don't want something that will give extra drying effects on your hair. And at some point, you may even need to add a little bit of carrier oil to the water. You add, I know oil and water are not friends, they might not mix, but adding a few carrier oil to your water while using it to wash your hair, it helps you reduce how much it dries out, like how fast it dries out. So oil will help to seal the water in your hair for a longer time. So few carrier oils like olive oil, like jojoba oil, like carrot oil, like pear oil can go a long way during this period. Another thing is combing. While combing your hair, you want to use a particular method, the WCO method. So the W actually stands for wet, which means you have to wet your hair first. Then the C means comb. After you wet your hair, you comb your hair. Then the O means oil. Then you oil your hair. Even if you've oiled your hair before you comb it, by the time you are done, you feel like your hair is already drying out. You know, I'm at time. It can be very funny. So you have to re-oil your hair to keep the moisture in for a longer time. So you comb first. I mean, you wet first, then you comb, then you oil. So in this case, harmattan is really that kind of season that will teach you patience. So you really don't want to just pack your whole hair and start combing at the same time. At this point, you want to section your hair. You want to take it section by section because if you try to comb everything at once, first you're going to cry. Two, you will go back to square one because you're going to be frustrated. So that's that about the combing. Another tips that I'm going to talk about is no other than oiling. Okay, I've been mentioning oil since morning. When you add water, you add oil in the end. If you want to comb your hair, you wet, you comb, you oil. Oiling is very significant in making the hair stay moisturized for a longer time. At the same time, it helps to add shine to hair and also soften the hair. There's some oil in particular. I know this our leave-in conditioner contains some type of oils depending on the kind of leave-in conditioner you want to use. So oil is a very important ingredient in leave-in conditioner, and there's some oil that are very very essential to your hair if you want a softer hair. So it is this time that you have to incorporate all those kind of oil. For example, we have the avocado oil, we have the almond oil. So these oils helps the hair to get softer a bit, so it makes it easier to work on. So oil cannot be overemphasized when it comes to harmattan season. So the next tip that I'm going to give is the shampooing and conditioning. On a regular wash days, you shampoo your hair right and then you condition your hair right. So, but this is very important here in harmattan season because you want to be careful with the kind of shampoo that you use. For example, if you are a regular user of sulfate shampoo, you want to cut down on the amount of time you use sulfate shampoo during harmattan because sulfate shampoo on its own contains a drying effect, it contains a drying ingredient that actually strip the hair of its natural oil. So if you are willing to add more oil to your hair and you're also using a shampoo that dries out the oil from your hair, are you not contradicting yourself? So at this point, you want to opt for a sulfate-free shampoo. Sulfate-free shampoo in the sense that it doesn't contain the sulfate compounds like sodium lauryl sulfate or ammonium lauryl sulfate. You also want to go in with deep conditioner on a wash day. On no account should you miss this one during harmattan. When you wash your hair with shampoo, ensure that you follow with a deep conditioner. Deep conditioner also helps to attract extra moisture to the hair. It helps to soften the hair and also make the hair hydrated and softer for a longer time. You see why it's very important during harmattan. Harmattan is dry. This things will bring wetness to your hair. So that's about deep conditioning and shampooing. When it comes to protection, we all know that harmattan season is a very dry season. And apart from the fact that it is very dry, it can be very dirty. So if you are going out without something to cover up, you might go out looking white and come back home looking black entirely because the dust during harmattan is just crazy. So at this point, you want to opt for satin scarf, satin bonnet. Satin bonnet is very useful for you when you're going to bed. If you are not a fan of using a bonnet, you can opt for a satin scarf or you opt for a satin pillowcase so that your hair will not be predisposed to friction that breaks the hair, and then to also dry out your hair because that material can also absorb moisture from your hair and also absorb the oil from your hair. So you don't want something that will contradict yourself. So as you're applying these things, you also want to keep them in and you want to protect them with something that will also not collect them from you. This is why satin scarf, bonnet, or pillowcase is very important. And when you are going out to a place that you feel like might be dusty, ensure you go out with your scarf so that you don't go out with a clean and washed hair and return home with dusty, brown, and dirty hair. If you follow these tips, your natural hair will be so lovely, luscious, and stress free during the harmattan season. So if you've got to this part of the video, ensure you subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share to other natural hair girlies that you know. So I'm going to see you around.